Hi students, welcome back to the Google Classroom of Class 7 History Chapter 1 Tracing Changes Through 1,000 Years. I hope all of you have studied the previous topics of this chapter very well and you all performed very well in your test paper. Children, we have learnt about different types of maps and the historical changes through 1,000 years of our medieval Indian history in the last class. Who is a cartographer? Yes, a person who makes maps is known as a cartographer. Then in our textbook we have two maps. Which are they? Map 1 and Map 2. Then map 1 was made by an Arab geographer Al-Idrisi. Then what about map 2? This map was done by a French cartographer 600 years after the first map. Today we will discuss different changes of historians and their sources and the new social and political groups. The third change in historians and their sources, from archaeological evidences to literary sources. Historians use different types of sources to learn about the past. So children, what are the different types of sources available to the historians for the study of past? Archaeological evidences and literary evidences. The archaeological evidences contain coins, inscriptions, architecture, paintings, etc. Then the literary evidences contain letters, teaching of saints, manuscripts, petitions and judicial records, holy text, chronicles of rulers, etc. So these are the two important sources available to the historians for the study of past. What are they? Archaeological evidences and literary evidences. What do you mean by archives? A place where manuscripts and documents are stored. Then what are the sources used by the historians? Inscriptions on Qutb Minar. This is the picture of the inscriptions on Qutb Minar. Then this is manuscript and the coins, the inscriptions on the coins. So these are the sources used by the historians to study about the past. Use of paper for writing manuscripts. Manuscripts were collected by wealthy people, rulers, monasteries, and temples. They were placed in libraries as well as archives. These manuscripts and documents were rich and vital sources of information for the historians, but they were difficult to use. Scribes copied manuscripts by hand. So what do you mean by manuscripts? Handwritten book or document. Then who is scribe? A person who writes books or documents by hand as a profession is known as scribe. So children, what are the difficulties faced by the historians in using manuscripts? Scribes introduced numerous changes in manuscripts while copying because of less legible handwriting, personal biases. Biases means errors, misinterpretation and exaggeration of facts. Some scribes exaggerate the facts. So this is the first problems faced by the historians while using manuscripts. Then the second one, the small but significant changes grew over centuries of copying until manuscripts of the same text became substantially different from one another. Then the third one, original manuscripts are rarely found. As a result, historians have to read different manuscripts, versions of the same text to guess what the author had originally written. So these are the main problems or difficulties faced by the historians while using manuscripts. Children, here is an interesting fact for you. The 14th century chronicler Ziauddin Barani wrote his chronicle first in 1356 and wrote another version 2 years later. Both the versions were different from each other. Historians were not aware of the existence of the earlier version till the 1960s because it remained lost in large library collections. So here one more question. Who is the 14th century chronicler? Ziauddin Barani. Fourth change, new social and political groups. A new technologies made their appearance. Emergence of new groups. Changes due to the extension of agriculture. Emergence of JATIS. These are the main changes in social and political groups. So children, what are the new changes in technology? Spinning wheel for weaving. This is the first change in technology. Then second one, Persian wheel for irrigation. Then third one, firearms for combat. Combat means for war. Firearms for combat. Then next one, new food items and beverage items like tea, coffee, potatoes, corn, etc. were introduced. This is the picture of Persian wheel we used for irrigation. Then, children, which are the new social and political groups emerged in this period? Rajputs, Sikhs, Ahams, Jats, Kayasthas and Marathas. Rajput. The term Rajput derived from the term Rajputra, which means son of a ruler, and they belonged to the Kshatriya caste. And these Rajputs included rulers, soldiers, commanders, and chieftains. What are the main qualities of these Rajputs? The main qualities were chivalry, courage, and loyalty. Children, there are 4 castes in Hinduism: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and the Shudras. So these Rajputs, they belonged to this Kshatriya caste. The next changes is regarding agriculture. Changes due to the extension of agriculture. Because of this extension of agriculture, forests were cleared and the life of forest dwellers changed. Some of them migrated to towns and cities. Some of them became peasants, and many became a part of large complex societies and paid taxes and tributes to the local lords. Then the new Jadis came into existence. So these are the changes due to the extension of agriculture. Forests were cleared, life of the forest dwellers changed, and the new Jadis came into existence. So children, what are the meanings and functions of Jadis? What do you mean by Jadi? Jati or subcastes refer to grouping and ranking of people on the basis of their background and occupation. Ranks and status of Jati kept changing at different areas and time periods based on the power, influence, and resources controlled by the members of the Jati. Jatis framed their own rules and regulations to manage the conduct of their members. These regulations were enforced by an assembly of elders known as Jadi Panchayat. Very important. These regulations were enforced by an assembly of elders known as Jadi Panchayat. Jadis were also required to follow the rules of their villages. Let us conclude today's session by recollecting all the concepts. Historians use different sources to learn about the past. Then what are the changes occurred to the social and political groups during this period? Technological changes, then the emergence of new groups, the changes occurred due to the extension of agriculture, then the emergence of jati system, etc. So children, please note that the corresponding URL, notes of the lesson and test paper are also attached along with this video. Make use of all these available resources, study well and attend the test paper without fail. Thank you.